save the organization and its functionality for the sake of the people. All participating states have agreed that Malta is the new chair for next year, and also the plan of the chairpersonship of North Macedonia has worked out. We have managed to extend the mandates of the top 4 leadership positions of the OSCE, the Secretary General and heads of the 3 autonomous institutions. And I want at the outset to congratulate Malta and Minister Borg and to express our deep gratitude for taking the burden of responsibility for the continuation of the OSCE's important mission in these challenging times. They can count on our support, and I wish them less challenging year than we had. I would also like to congratulate and thank the Secretary General Helga Schmidt and Matteo Mecacci, Teresa Ribeiro and Kairat Abdrahmanov for the dedicated service, wishing them to continue their good work. Dear representatives of the media, I am particularly glad to speak before you today. This is the largest political gathering on our soil of the largest regional security organization in the world. And this meeting took place in extraordinary times when we are witnessing an open war against Ukraine, a continuous attack on the concept of multilateralism, the rules-based order, and ongoing human suffering. In many ways, history repeats itself, challenging our today and tomorrow. Here in the Balkans, we hesitate to name things historical, since you know the old saying, we produce more history than we can consume, but indeed, this Ministerial Council has already been labeled as historical and groundbreaking. The Russian aggression against Ukraine has blatantly violated the very founding principles and commitments of our organization, of the European security architecture, and has caused immense suffering in Ukraine, but also challenged the very existence of our organization. And therefore, the results of this Ministerial Council are groundbreaking. First, because the overwhelming majority of participating states have resolutely and unequivocally gathered to reinforce the invaluable significance of the principles and commitments of the OSCE enshrined in the Helsinki Final Act, and condemned once again in front of the world Russia's war against its independent and sovereign neighbor. This ministerial meeting in Skopje has reignited our guiding light, which still shines strong, despite the efforts of some to extinguish it. Second, it has proved and even reinforced, against all odds, the relevance of the OSCE and its necessity for the future. The Skopje Ministerial Council was a political gathering that faced many risks. The chairpersonship of North Macedonia has assumed the full burden of these risks with a sense of responsibility and awareness of their significance. Let me emphasize the importance of compromise. I am a foreign minister of a country which has made so many difficult compromises since its independence. And trust me, they were much more painful compared to these. But this compromise was needed for the OSCE to continue its important work. Compromises are inherently difficult and often painful. They serve to remedy historical misunderstandings, but also pave paths to a better future. Putting things in a historical perspective, here again comes the word historical. And I think that we can all be proud of our achievements in a year full of challenges, with an eye to the future. We navigated through many twists and turns to find common ground for the OSCE. The OSCE is not and has never been the organization of the like-minded. That's where its competitive edge lies. Indeed, one of the participating states has blatantly violated our common principles and commitments. Yet, we need the OSCE to continue serving as an active platform for dialogue and accountability, to expose all wrongdoers and misdeeds, separate the good from the bad, and allow our values to steer our path forward in addressing these wrongs. Our people also need OSCE. The organization must continue offering its toolkit and expertise, the able minds and hands of the staff of the autonomous institutions and field missions to continue delivering results for them. After all, it's about people. Ukraine, which was the #1 priority during our chairpersonship, will need the OSCE even more once the aggression ends and the process of recovery starts. As our term as chair comes slowly but surely to its end, I deem necessary to underline how proud and humble we were in conducting this highly valuable task in the face of adversity and unprecedented challenges. We have spared no effort to meet this task and lead the world's largest regional security organization honestly, inclusively, and effectively. The people, especially those in need in Ukraine and in other areas of conflict, were the focus of our engagement. In this endeavor, we were guided and inspired by our own experience as a multi-ethnic society, as a state which, as I already mentioned, has faced challenges of all kinds. These challenges helped us to nurture a culture of dialogue and understanding among us internally and with our neighbors, and to consider compromise as a strength rather than a weakness. These challenges taught us to be patient, but also resilient, and have faith in the power of multilateralism while remaining actively engaged. In turbulent times for the Balkans, the OSCE was here for us when we needed help. The OSCE has proven to be a trusted companion when we needed a hand and a supporting partner as we reformed for the better. Today, I can proudly say that we stood by the OSCE when it was needed, as it stood with us. Our authentic experience and firm belief in the principles and commitments of the OSCE, coupled with the devotion and good faith, guided us throughout the year. Once again, I wish Malta all success as the next chair. As an OSCE Troika partner, we will stand by you as you embark on this challenging yet rewarding journey. I hope that 2024 will provide larger avenues for more substantial dialogue, and most importantly, the end of aggression and a return to peace, stability, and cooperation in the OSCE area and beyond. I thank you. Moderator.
Thank you very much, Minister Osmani. And now I'd like to call on the chairperson in office for 2024, Minister Ian Borch.
Thank you. Thank you and good afternoon. Let me start by thanking all participating states of this important and largest regional security organization for showing their trust in me as the incoming chairperson in office, but especially in Malta. The unanimous vote by all the 57 countries is a testament to our joint commitment to continue strengthening our organization and to ensure that despite all the challenges we are currently facing, we ensure that this organization remains robust. Our organization was created upon shared principles and values. It's an inclusive platform for effective dialogue. We must focus on ending war and conflict. Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine must stop. As we embark on this journey together, we are committed to fulfilling our duties and responsibilities in the time ahead, in the spirit of the principles of the Helsinki Final Act. As chairperson in office, I will look forward to work hand in hand together with all our partners and commit myself to working towards fostering enhanced dialogue through which multilateralism can make the difference we need. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Borch. Now I would like to call on the OSCE Secretary-General, Helga Maria Schmidt. Secretary-General, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. I would like to start by thanking Minister Osmani for hosting us in Skopje this week for the 30th OSCE Ministerial Council. Minister Djebuya, I'm particularly grateful to you for your skillful stewardship and our cooperation throughout the year. It's been a challenging journey, as you said, but you ended with a success. Because the decisions made by participating states here in Skopje will enable the OSCE work to continue to support stability, security, human rights and fundamental freedoms throughout the OSCE area. I'm ready to play my part alongside my colleagues from the three institutions. This is not about us. We are here to serve the aims of the organization. Today is a success for the OSCE. In the current circumstances, finding common ground on any topic is a challenge, and I will not pretend otherwise. As I noted in my report yesterday, this organization is based on principles and commitments agreed by all nearly 50 years ago. It is meant not only to address a range of security challenges, but also to hold its participants to account. And this is what happened over the last 2 days. You, Djebuya, just outlined that. I have heard overwhelming commitment to this organization. All 57 participating states decided to select Malta as the chairpersonship for next year, which will provide the continuity needed to keep this organization delivering on its mandate. I and the heads of institutions stand ready to support. But coming back to our current chair, Djebuya, the motto you chose for this year, it's about people, could not be more appropriate. All that we do, whether working to tackle corruption and organized crime, or monitoring elections, or take small arms and light weapons, there are millions of such illicit weapons across the OSCE area, and we are tirelessly working to address this challenge. We are also enhancing the safety of women journalists. We are training border guards on human rights standards. All of this is in support of people across our region and beyond. All this and much more is done in support of the women and men that call our region home. When we say it's about people, it's also about our staff, the people who make our work possible. And I'm grateful to them for their dedication, their commitment to making life safer, freer, more prosperous for the communities they serve. And I need to mention here our 3 staff members who have been held in Donetsk and Luhansk for over 600 days, detained for their work for the OSCE, despite the functional immunity to which they are entitled. I call yet again for their immediate release, and I will continue to do all I can to secure their freedom. There's important work ahead, and I commend Malta, dear Minister, dear Ian, for your willingness to take up the chairpersonship in 2024. Malta has long played important roles in support of peace and security, and I remember this from my previous work in the European Union, and now as a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council. I know that you will apply the same skillful, principled leadership as chair of the OSCE next year. I look forward to working with you and your team, and on behalf of all the staff, you can count on our full support.
Thank you very much, Secretary-General. That concludes the opening statements. We can now move into the more interactive element, and we can have the questions and answers. Please, when you do ask your question, please could I kindly remind you to mention your name and your media organization. So, let's begin. Lady directly to my left in the front row with the blue top on. Could someone bring a microphone to her? And if you could just raise your hand so everybody can see you. Great.
Thank you. I'm Jana Božinovska from Slobodan Pečat. I would like to ask one question. I don't know who can answer. Was there any bargaining with Russia? during this meeting how Russia decided to support these decisions. Thank you.
Minister?
Yes, thank you for your question. Well, the OSCE is a consensus-based organization. As it was mentioned today, consensus is in the DNA of the organization. Consensus is the bedrock upon which we build this collaborative cooperation in the organization. There are no decisions in the OSCE which are not done without consensus. Therefore, the perspectives of all 57 participating states have been taken into consideration. And I'm grateful that in the most polarized year for the organization in the 50 years since it has been established, we managed to approve 5 crucial decisions for the very existence of this organization by consensus. Have we gone beyond the principles and commitments of the organization? I would say no. Because from day one, when I met you in Łódź, when I assumed the position of the chairman in office of the OSCE, I said, I will be the guardian of the principles and commitments of the organization. And these principles and commitments will not be negotiated, as they have been not negotiated throughout the year. We have been vocal in condemning the aggressor, the Russian Federation in this case, which, as I said, not only has caused human suffering in Ukraine, an immense human suffering, but challenged the very existence of the organization. But also we have turned the OSCE into a platform for political and legal accountability of Russia for its atrocities in Ukraine. Every single week at the Permanent Council table in Vienna, 56 participating states have told the truth to the Russian ambassador, as 55 participating ministers of participating states have told the truth to the Russian Minister of Foreign Affairs here at the Ministerial Council in the OSCE. So no bargaining with regard to the principles and commitments of the organization, which are non-negotiable, but certainly in the consensus procedure, the perspective of all 57 have been taken into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Next question. Gentleman here first, directly in front with the glasses.
This is working, right. So my name is Vudi Jamshiti. I'm a journalist with the British Frontliner magazine. Over the past year, Serbia has been consistently involved in aggressing territorial and constitutional order of the Republic of Kosovo. Consistently, we have seen that European Union and the United States somehow blaming Kosovo for its rightful right to defend its territorial and constitutional order within the Republic of Kosovo, while all along Serbia somehow evading accountability. We all know that Serbia signed a foreign policy agreement alignment with Moscow in September last year. Over these 2 days, I didn't really hear anything coming from the OSCE as a matter of concern where Serbia is standing being a member of OSCE and being responsible for territorial and constitutional aggression of the Republic of Kosovo, and consistently being responsible for failing to observe and adhere the agreements that has been made between on the negotiation between Pristina and Belgrade. So I was wondering, what is the stance of OSCE, Mr. Osmani? Do you feel like OSCE has managed to do something positive with regards to holding Serbia accountable, or is it what the actual evidence suggests, that you could agree that you didn't really do anything much to hold Serbia accountable for its territorial and constitutional aggression in Kosovo, and basically being the source of interethnic tensions and instability in the Balkans? Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I can provide you my national position as a foreign minister of North Macedonia, which has been unequivocal. We have recognized the Republic of Kosovo. We have hosted Serbia-Kosovo dialogue in Ohrid, which produced the Ohrid agreement, which we consider is the only way forward, aiming at reaching comprehensive agreement between Serbia and Kosovo centered on mutual recognition. And this is our national position, and we work on promoting this way forward, just as we did in Ohrid, and we still continue to offer North Macedonia as a host country, since we are in good relations with both Serbia and Kosovo. We have experience in engaging into difficult compromises, and based on this experience, we have urged both sides to move ahead in closing this dispute, since this open file has become a vulnerable spot in this region that has been hijacked very often by different malign actors. And here I close my national position. As an OSCE chairperson in office, I've been very engaged with regard to Kosovo and to Serbia. We have field operations both in Pristina and Belgrade. Actually, in Pristina, we have the largest field operation after the one that was closed in Kiev, which was the largest one. Now is Kosovo field operation, the largest one. We have 5 regional offices with all communities in Kosovo. And it is a very accepted and respected international organization in Kosovo, just as we have one in Belgrade. I visited both Belgrade and Pristina during our chairpersonship. I even went forward and tabled the so-called chairpersonship 9-point plan for de-escalation in the north, which then later on became even plan of the European Union, the United States, and the Kosovo government and Serbia's government.
I'm sorry, but we really are going to have to continue because there are others who would like to. Perhaps we could have a conversation after the press conference.
If I can complete my... I hope that Kosovo soon will become a participating state in the OSCE, though, as I spoke during my introductory remarks, this is a consensus-based organization, so we need the consensus of all 57 participating states to include a new participating states. But I believe that then Kosovo will be more eligible to the instruments, if I can say, of the OSCE, even though now our OSCE field operation is working closely with the institutions, and certainly the one in Belgrade is following closely these dynamics that you have mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Gentleman with the purple shirt in front of me.
Thank you. Thank you very much for a well-organized event. I'm congratulate with successful finished your missions, and congratulations of Malta. My questions to both to upcoming chairman, Mr. Borg, and to Secretary General, we also congratulate her for reappointment. 2 issues, one issue is I'm journalist and we are working on very sensitive issues like investigating international crimes, and one of the international crimes which is all of us affected is like international financial crimes, and our brave colleague Daphne Caruana Galizia paid huge price. She is brave and maybe one of the famous outspoken Maltese voice which is paid with her life to defend freedom of expression. My questions to you: how Malta planning to prioritize freedom of expressions, support to freedom of expression is all OSCE member states during your chairmanship period? Because we have all of us have a problem, from Russia to Azerbaijan to any other countries like in the Central Asia, which have a problem with the democracy and accountability. Many of our journalists every day arrested and detained. How are you able to facilitate on this direction, or you have any kind of different priorities? The second question to Madam Secretary General, because it's related with the consensus issues. During your appointment, when it's previous Secretary General and previous leadership of OSCE, they want also postpone their mandate, and country like Azerbaijan, Turkey and Turkmenistan during the negotiations, they broke consensus, and that previous leadership not elected. And what we observe as like watchdogs organization and media organizations, on some countries, like for example, some mandate holders start to be less outspoken. I'm speaking, for example, on topics related with the freedom of expression, when Teresa Ribeiro, according with previous mandate holders, with Miklos Harashti, with Dunja Mijatovic, and with other Harlem Desir last mandate holders, they are less outspoken, for example, on Azerbaijan. Let's say we have every year, during the year, 10 journalists arrested. If previously, every time, according to their mandates, they react. Today, after Azerbaijani informal pressure for this like procedure with consensus.
I'm sorry, is there a question coming?
It's questions for
Thank
how
you.
to be able to be like defend like mandate holders to make them independent, because we observe for they start to be less outspoken when some countries able to not postpone them on their positions. Thank you very much, and sorry for long questions.
Thank you. I think we can start with Minister Borch and then follow up with the Secretary General.
Thank you. You're right. Definitely paid the highest price, and this was definitely one of the darkest days in the Maltese history. And as already confirmed this morning, with my presence reading the statement on behalf of 40 plus participating states, we remain equally committed to not only ensure the institution led by Teresa Ribeiro keeps its best of functions, but also the initiatives that my friend Vujar started, especially the protection of women and gender-based violence against women journalists, will continue to be given the necessary resources and due attention.
Secretary General.
Thank you. I have worked with Teresa Ribeiro for 3 years now. Her mandate is autonomous. I can only say that she has done an outstanding job in support of the freedom of the media, in support of freedom of expression, in support of safety of journalists, particularly also female journalists, in support of online freedom. So and this has been not only appreciated by the current chair, but also by participating states. And I think this is also a reason why there was a unanimous support for her extension. And the same goes also for my colleagues, Director of ODIHR and the High Commissioner on National Minorities.
Thank you very much, Secretary General. Lady directly in front of me.
Thank you very much. Alexandra von Nahm, DW Deutsche Welle. In addition to the agreement today, have you been able to make progress on the budget of the organization? I believe that is still blocked by Russia. Can you please update us, and what does it mean for the organization? Thank you.
Yeah. As you know, the budget of the OSCE has not been approved since 2021 because the Russian Federation has blocked its adoption. So the organization has suffered immensely due to lack of budget. And as I've been saying lately, the organization has bleeded as a result of no budget adopted. So we work, Secretary General can say more in monthly allotments based on the budget of 2021. But that means that we cannot follow the inflation trends, and we cannot create new positions, which has damaged a lot, particularly in our capacity to deliver throughout the conflict regions with our field operations. We have made many efforts to approve a budget for 2023. Previously, we had difficulties with 2 other participating states. We managed to find a creative way forward, and then it remained only the Russian Federation. Though we reached a consensus after many months of negotiation, we reached a consensus on the numbers, on the content, which is the substance which is the heart of the budget, are the numbers. But the Russian Federation has vetoed the budget due to a sentence in the narrative part which isn't even part of the decision procedure. Even though we are 2-3 weeks in the run-up of this year in our chairpersonship, I still believe that it's important to work on the budget of 2023. I had some talks yesterday with many participating states, and we will try in the upcoming days after the Ministerial Council to try once more. I know some will say, well, why do you need a budget in the last 3 weeks of the year? But certainly that will introduce a new threshold, given that this budget is increased compared to the one of 2021, and also will pave the way for the approval of the budget of 2024. So I once again urge the Russian Federation to allow the consensus on the budget, since the field operations in Moldova, which is critical in maintaining communication between Chisinau and Tiraspol, the field operation in Pristina or in Sarajevo or in Skopje is suffering because of this zero-sum game approach in dealing within the OSCE. Thank you.
Secretary General.
Just to say, and to echo what Chairman Osmani just said, my first point would be that the OSCE continues to deliver despite the circumstances, despite a lack of an agreed budget. And this is what I also outlined in my report to the participating states yesterday. The lack of an agreed budget is a true problem, because what does it mean? As Minister Osmani has outlined, when the budget is not approved by the end of December, according to our financial regulations, we have to operate with provisional monthly allotments based on the budget that was approved last. And in this case, this is the 2021 budget that does, of course, not reflect rising salaries, inflation rates. And monthly allotments, this means not only a lot of burden, but it also means lack of security. And in the end, it means also that we need to spend more money than we should. So this is why, indeed, we need an urgent agreement on the budget. I'm very proud to say that we managed to double our extra budgetary support, but this is for programmatic issues. I'm grateful to the many participating states that are contributing. This allows us to do excellent work when it comes, for example, to fight gender-based violence, when it comes to fighting the security implications of climate change, and so much more. But this is no way of running an organization. So I'm very grateful to the support of the chair, and I hope that we will find a solution very soon.
If I can just add, we should not say much of the struggles. We don't need to scare Jan at the beginning of his chairpersonship.
Thank you, Minister, for that last comment. I think we have time for one more question, and then we should probably end the press conference. I believe the gentleman already has the microphone in the second row.
This is Antonio Sanchez with EFE, the Spanish news agency. Despite the political and diplomatic isolation, Russia has managed to force, let's say, to emergency solutions with the chair and with the extension of the mandate. My question is, do you have the feeling that Russia is weaker or stronger within the organization now? And are you closer to the situation of consensus -1 to try to impulse a suspension of membership of Russia? And for Mr. Borch, a tricky question for you. Under the current circumstances, no changes in the situation in Ukraine, for instance, could you allow the foreign minister of Russia to attend the next council in Malta next year? Thank you.
Minister.
Yes. There has been a debate within the OSCE whether the Russian Federation should be or should have been expelled from the OSCE. As a consequence of this violation of the very founding principles and commitments of the organization. And there have been two arguments why this could not be done, one legal and one political. The legal one is the principle that you mentioned. Once in 1992, the consensus -1 principle was used when Yugoslavia was expelled for massive violation of human rights. But we think that this principle of consensus -1 would not work today, since there are diverging opinions within the OSCE, and I jump here to the political argument, when some participating states consider that OSCE has been established as a platform to provide dialogue between non-like-minded countries. So OSCE is not and has never been an organization of like-minded countries. And the purpose of OSCE is to bring these countries that diverge in their opinion through collaborative engagement with a comprehensive approach to security to provide peace and stability for our region. And therefore, this debate, I think, has been exhausted, at least to this point. The Russian Federation, as I have been saying these days, or the Minister Lavrov, has not come to Skopje, he has not come to North Macedonia, and he has not come in his and I have not received him in my national capacity, or North Macedonia hosted him in our national capacity. He came to the OSCE just as he went to the United Nations in New York a few months ago. And there's no difference between the two. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Minister Borch, the floor is yours.
Yeah, whilst I totally agree with my final remarks by my friend Bujar, our objective should be to stop the war and to make sure that Ukraine wins back all its sovereign territory, rather than thinking about a choreography and how will it look like in a year's time. We have to stop the sufferings of the Ukrainian people, and we still have 365 days to talk about that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister Borch. That concludes the press conference, but as a note of housekeeping, I believe in 10 minutes' time, Minister Osmani will be giving his own press conference to local media. There will be no English translation. That's just for international journalists, okay, to let you know. Thank you very much. Thank you.